So I actually have some continuous data here in the math growth scores, and I can look at the average of those and I can compare them by institutional type and free and reduced lunch. So those are some things I want to do. Right, we're going to practice with descriptive statistics. All the statistics commands that you're going to use pretty much under the analyze command. So we're just working with descriptives now, so we can go descriptives. And let's see, what is the math growth measure average? Let's do that. There is a theoretical answer. It should be 0. So I don't really care about min and max. Yeah, actually I do. I'll leave it in there. And I want standard deviation. Oh, there it is. It's okay. It's all set. I could also get standard error, but I'm just going to stick with this now. Right? And say, okay, so the minimum, maximum, the mean, although not 0, is very close to 0. And it may be because I don't have a complete data set, or maybe because they use other states. I don't know how they arrive at it. But theoretically, the growth is always set to 0. The average is always set to 0. And if you're an average growth, you got 0. If you're one school up from there, you're going to have a little higher rating. All right, but that's not very interesting. I'd like to know how the charter schools do compared to other schools. So I can compare means. And you notice here there's one sample t-test, independent sample. These are some topics we're going to be getting into in the future, and those are inferential statistics. For now, we're just doing straight compare means. All right, let's do math proficiency. I'll start this over again. So I had this. Dependent variables are your output variables, your measures. So math proficiency makes sense there. And I really want to compare institutional type. Right. What do you think? Charter schools, cyber charters doing better than public schools? All right. Charter schools, average proficiency 16, cyber 12, regular public 27. Maybe cybers aren't the panacea. But remember in class we talked about poverty is one of the most important variables, and you always have to ask, could that result have been because of some confounding or conflating of this question with poverty? So maybe it's the case that charter schools have more students in poverty, and that might explain why they're not doing as well. So I can find that out as well. And in this case, I want to do, let's see if this makes sense. I want to do I'm not going to do the free and reduced lunch groups here. I'm going to use free and reduced lunch actual score and find the average by institutional type. All right. So charter schools have 70% students on average free and reduced lunch as compared to public schools 46. So yes, there is more poverty, and that could explain why they're not doing as well. But look at cyber charters. Actually, pretty close poverty level to regular public schools or free and reduced lunch. I should be more careful how I say that. Whereas charter schools are performing very poorly in terms of proficiency of math for grades 4 through 8. So that's an interesting finding. Now, the reason I recoded that free and reduced lunch is I want to be able to compare means by free and reduced lunch. So let's say I'm going to use free and reduced lunch as a grouping variable. So in other words, are schools with low free and reduced lunch doing as well or better than students in schools that with high free and reduced lunch? So again, I'm going to use the proficiency, and I'm definitely expecting schools with less free and reduced lunch to do better. So let's see. Right. Group 1 is those low free and reduced lunch. They have 33. versus 14. So yes, that's true. Now, the PBAS theory is that because growth is accounted for, it doesn't matter if you're a poor school or a rich school. So I'm going to challenge you to run a command that will tell you whether the PBAS theory is holding true with this data set. All right, so we've done quite a bit here with the descriptive command, regular descriptive command, and the compare means command. We can also do other things, and one that I want to point out is crosstabs. I usually find that to be very useful. All right, crosstabs, you might hear that when you hear about surveys being reported. So what we can do is see things like school institutional type versus free and reduced lunch. And we're going to get counts of how many fit into each of those categories and crossed over. That's the crosstab part. All right, 116 charter schools, 72 are in the high free and reduced lunch, and only 12 are in the lowest. Public schools, as you can see, there's more schools that are not in the high free and reduced lunch than there are those that are. So quite a bit of difference in the what kind of frequency count of the charter schools versus the regular public schools. All right, so that's the end of this video and the end of the kinds of things that we're doing to introduce SPSS. But after you've done this analysis, please save your SPSS file. I'm going to have you do a little bit more with it in the next module, and I don't want you to have to repeat the work that you just did. All right, looking forward to seeing your posts online.